currently muted, but I'm going to unmute everyone for just a second so I can make sure that everyone that I'm aware of being on the call is on the call and I'm not missing anyone. So if you want to go ahead and mute yourself on your phone or on your computer so that we're not getting a lot of background noise, that would be great. So far, I know that the Campus Kitchen at Washington, D.C. is present, Baylor is present, UDM, Gonzaga, IUPUI, and SIUE are present. Is there any Campus Kitchen that I'm missing that's on the call?
Wake Forest is here.
Great, hey.
Hi.
Anyone else? Okay, awesome. I think a few more people will be joining us as we get started. I just had a couple of emails about logging in, but we're going to get going so I can make sure that I respect everyone's time. So at this point, I am turning the webinar over for now to Christine. Christine works at VolunteerHub, and she has been my contact there as we get this system up and going for all of our campus kitchens that are currently using it. So Christine, I will let you take it from here. At this point, I'm going to, now that I said that, I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to mute everyone just so that Christine doesn't have any background noise. But if you have questions as she goes along, feel free to type them in the chat box if you need some clarification. I'll make sure your question gets answered, and then we'll also have an opportunity for spoken and written questions at the end. All righty. I think we're ready, Christine.
All right. Great. Thank you, Linda. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. I wanted to spend time, and I'm just going to remind you, Linda, to record this. Just in case
yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure
yes, I appreciate that.
No problem. Today, I'm going to show you a high-level overview of VolunteerHub. I know Linda had wanted you guys to see VolunteerHub and its capabilities. I know there was a survey that went out, and she got some great feedback on what you guys are looking for in a solution to help make your life easier. And I'm going to touch on some of those points and some of the comments that were made in that survey, and show you how VolunteerHub actually can help improve your volunteer program and how you organize and structure your volunteers and schedule them, of course, for opportunities. Just so you know, VolunteerHub is an online volunteer management solution. It helps to better engage, recruit, and schedule volunteers online. And some of the comments that were made with regards to what types of improvements you want to make in a by using a solution would be, better recruitment, better organization, people that actually sign up to do something actually showing up, consistency of volunteers, and trying to balance all and juggle all of the things that come with coordinating volunteers for opportunities. And I think VolunteerHub addresses a lot of those comments that were made. So, VolunteerHub is an online tool, so it's going to better recruit volunteers by allowing the volunteers to easily go to a website, sign up for opportunities. You can promote them. You can promote your VolunteerHub account through other avenues too. I don't know exactly what will be available for you to do, if there are rules against certain areas that you can't promote your site. But if you have social media, if you have a Facebook page and you want to link that, or you use something like Volunteer Match, you can link to your specific VolunteerHub page. So you can use different avenues to kind of recruit volunteers from different areas, because they can sign up at the convenience of their own home. Organization. The system actually is used so you can see exactly who's coming on a given day. You can pull reports, generate reports for that. You can easily generate emails to certain people in groups, or people that have signed up for certain events, that sort of thing. So it really improves on organization. Signing up and people actually showing up. You'll always get people that just don't show up, but we do have the ability for you to cancel your sign up. So if a volunteer decides, oh, last minute I can't attend, there's ways in the system that you can actually sign up and then cancel if you can no longer attend. You can also limit when they can cancel so that they have to directly contact you, and hopefully they'll feel obligated because they can't cancel online to contact you directly. And we also have waitlisting capabilities, so volunteers can waitlist for an event, automatically be bumped into an open slot that becomes available. And trying to balance everything, again, this system does a lot for kind of organizing all of your volunteer opportunities and allowing you to generate emails. It automatically sends emails as well, so it eliminates a lot of that phone call and email traffic you might have in scheduling and coordinating volunteers. So it does help to balance your workload. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Today I'm going to show you one of the Campus Kitchen's sites, one of their landing pages. Campus Kitchen has several what we call landing pages for each of their locations, and this one in particular is for the University of Massachusetts, Boston. And the page that you're currently seeing is actually the schedule of opportunities that volunteers can view, and each location has their own landing page where they can update their look and feel, so they can have their own logo and color scheme, and you can also customize the messages that appear at the top of the page. The site actually shows all upcoming events that volunteers can sign up for, and you can view the list of upcoming events 4 different ways. The first way is by event group. Event group in VolunteerHub allows you to create categories of events. So if you had different areas where you had opportunities, you could actually organize them into different categories. You can also view by a date or a monthly calendar, and then we have a grid view as well, which will, if you have different event groups, it will line them side by side so you can see what events are going on during the same days in the different event groups. If a volunteer is interested in an opportunity, they can get more details about that opportunity by just clicking into the event. And actually, let me go to a future event here. So, and it will have a sign-up button. It will have a location. You can actually include a full address in the location field and display a map if you want. And it will link to Bing Maps. They can get driving directions. So I'm going to actually just go through the process of signing up for an event to show you how easy it is for the volunteers' experience. So if I click the sign up button next to one of these events, it's going to automatically take me through a registration wizard. It's automatically going to take me to a sign-in page where if you're already registered, you can type in your username and password. And if you're not registered yet, you can go through a registration wizard, complete an application, and then sign up for your event that you originally signed up for. Now, I'm going to pretend I'm an existing volunteer, so I'm just going to sign in here with my username and password. It's going to take me through the registration wizard where I'm signing up for that event. I can click Next. It will automatically ask me if there's a new question added to the application, or if I haven't signed up for something in the last 30 days, it does prompt me to make sure everything is up to date, but I can skip that. And then I can finish my process of signing up, and now I'm registered for the event. On the back end of VolunteerHub, you'll actually be able to see who signed up. The volunteers themselves will get an automatic confirmation email. They'll also receive an automatic reminder email, and after the event, they'll receive an automatic thank you email.
Another thing that didn't happen when Christine just did that is that you can add your volunteer waiver to the system. And so when someone signs up for an event for the very first time, they will be prompted to accept your volunteer waiver. And they won't be able to sign up for the event unless they hit accept. And then that way, you have everyone's volunteer waiver on file in this electronic system, and then users will have the option to print out their signed waiver or their electronically signed waiver when they get their registration confirmation email after they've completed an event registration. So I also think that that really helps with the whole paperwork management and checking off your boxes of making sure your volunteers are taken care of. And I just wanted to throw that out there also.
Yeah, no, thanks. Now, I've signed in to my account, and the account that I actually signed into was an administrator account. So I have additional tabs here. The volunteers won't see these additional tabs. They're actually just going to see the events tab, and they'll see a Your Events section, so all the events they've signed up for will be listed there, and they can cancel their registration if they can't attend. It'll just take them through that easy wizard again. But typically that's all they can access. They can sign up for events that fit their schedule, cancel if they can no longer attend. So pretty simple on the volunteer side. Does anybody have any questions that you want to shoot in the chat window? Did any questions come up yet? Okay. So now that I'm actually entered in as an administrator, just wanted to show you the capabilities on this side. So as an administrator, I can first add events to my, my group. So for example, I just went to the event groups tab here. If I wanted to, I could actually break out UMass Boston into sub categories if it needed to be, so that way I can pull reports on that. But if I just wanted to add an event to my location, I would just go into that event group and I would add an event by clicking the Add Event button. Now this will bring up the event information form where you would type in all the information you want for the event. So the name, date, time, descriptions, location. You can set how many total people you want to self-register for this event. You can disable when someone can register or cancel. And then the automatic emails that are generated, you can include additional information in the body of the emails. They will include information automatically, but you can include additional information. You can also carbon copy confirmation emails to the event contact, so that person is notified each time someone signs up, and the reminder email, you can set the time prior to the event you want them to be reminded. Now, in addition, if you want to set a waiver specific for your event, you can definitely set that for your event. So it's specific to your organization, and then they have to sign it in order to sign up for the event. And once you're done creating all of your events, and maybe you want to see who's signed up for a day, you can easily go into an event. Let's go to this kitchen shift. You'll see who's registered by going to the registered user section. You can print off a sign-in sheet of all the people registered for this event, export that, and print it off. And you can enter the hours in the hours field next to their name if you have to do it manually. Now, we also have a kiosk feature that's enabled that will allow you to check people in as they arrive to an event via kiosk. But this is the manual way of doing entering the hours. And you can also, oh, I see a question pop up. Is there a way for minors? Let's see what that was.
Is there a way to prevent minors from registering for an event? It's a good question.
So there is a way to do that. Now, the minor waiver actually will ask the minor to print off the waiver and bring it with them, and then you would have a notice that they didn't sign the waiver, so you know who to expect to bring the waiver signed. There is a way that you can reserve events for certain groups of volunteers. So if you identify people that are over the age of 18, what you can do is for events, you can actually limit you can limit that event for only people that are in the group that say they're over the age of 18. So there is a way to do that. You just have to identify the people that can sign up for an event so you can reserve those events for that group.
To continue, I'm not sure the exact reason this question is being asked, but all of the other information that I can think of pertaining to ages of volunteers. When a volunteer signs up, they are prompted to give their birth date so that we can identify, or that the system can identify whether or not that individual is a minor. And that way they will be prompted accurately whether or not they need to print the waiver to get a parent signature if they are a minor or not if the system identifies that they're not a minor. That being said, that exact birth date can give you an idea of exactly how old that person is. So I know, for example, that the Campus Kitchen at Northwestern has parameters about, if you're 17 and up, you can do this. If you're 15 and up, you can do this. So if that's the situation from your Campus Kitchen, you can clearly state that in the event description of what your age limits are. And then if anyone signs up in the system and the system says, hey, this is a minor, you can check to see what their actual age is to make sure that it's still fitting in with your parameters for volunteers.
Okay. All right. So another thing I wanted to mention here is if you ever get people that don't have computer access and you have to manually add people to an event, you can always manually add users to events. They do have to have an account created, which you can also create manually. That's done under the People section and just by adding a user. So you can add a user, and you can bypass what you make required on the front end if you just need to quickly create a user account. The only real required field is the username. So now, as far as reports go, you can definitely pull reports for your group of volunteers. And some of the reports we have, I just wanted to show you a few of these. The event participation by event report will show you all the events in your group that are going on during a certain time frame. So this will show you all of those events, how many people signed up out of how many people you wanted to sign up, and total amount of hours worked. And it will total that number at the end, too. So at the end of the report, you can get that information.
So to pause for a second, Christine, yep. When you were talking about event groups, you did note that under your Campus Kitchen's name, because that's how we have event groups set up right now, yeah. You can make subgroups or sub-event groups that are for different types of shifts. So for example, with Campus Kitchens, that might be food recovery shifts, cooking shifts, delivery shifts, etc. And you were saying that helps with reports. So what you were getting at is if you run this kind of report, you can then just pick under UMass Boston cooking shift, and then you can easily see the total number of hours done in a cooking shift, for example?
Correct. Yeah, cooking shift was a separate subcategory. That's correct.
Great. And then we do have another question. How do you see that a volunteer actually shows up after they sign up?
So if they showed up, they would actually, it depends on how you're collecting the information. If it's a manual entry of hours, it's based on the amount of hours that are calculated in their account for that event. So you can manually print out a sign-in sheet, collect that information on hand, and then enter it manually in the system. If they didn't show up, if you have a sign-in sheet and they didn't show up, you just remove them or put 0 in their hours to calculate that they were a no-show, basically. If you are using the on-site kiosk feature, that will actually allow volunteers to check in themselves. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So this will actually allow volunteers to check in via a tablet device or a computer, and they can check in, scan in this QR code, which will then prompt them on their smartphone to check into the event, or they can type in a few letters of their username, phone number, or name, and their name will appear on the right-hand side. Now, I don't know if anybody is, I don't know if I can pull up anybody. I don't think anybody is registered today, but awesome, yeah. So, yeah, I really like this feature. So this will actually capture those hours for your volunteers.
Additionally, since not everyone has a computer in their kitchen or at all of their different volunteer shifts, we do have it set. This is one of the settings that has to be done by me that applies to everyone. Unfortunately, it can be changed from kitchen to kitchen, but we have it set so that hours are granted to volunteers upon registration. So the system is going to assume that if someone registers, they showed up, and they showed up for the whole shift. So to make your reporting accurate, you're going to need your shift captains or someone, however you want to structure this, responsible for accurately tracking your attendance and then going back in the system and changing those numbers if you're going to make full use of the reports available to you in VolunteerHub.
Great. And yeah, and we also have this on-site application. Now this is used for administrators, so by chance if you're at the location and you want to check users in to events alongside the kiosk, you can actually see, you can pull this up on a smartphone or a tablet or a computer, and it will show you all the people that are signed up for events today. And you can click into their name and then, oh, let's see here.
Because none of those people are in your user group, I think.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. Okay, well, typically it would actually show you all the people that are signed up, and you can check them in by clicking into their name and then checking them into an event. You can also get an overview of all the events happening that day and how many people are checked in out of how many are registered for your event. So you can see like a basic overview of what's going on. So this is another feature that we have available for tracking hours. I hope I answered your question. And let's see, what do you think else, Linda, is important for them to see? Don't want to.
How about, do you want to just quickly go through how it's easy to add a recurring event as opposed to adding the same shift over and over again?
Oh, sure. So adding events is pretty simple. You just go into your event group and then you click Add Event. Now, to make a recurring event, there's an option for a single occurrence, or you can create a recurrence master. If you create a recurrence master, what it does is it takes the date and time away. And then on the second page of this, you'll actually create an instance pattern. And just so I don't have to create a brand new one, let me go to the masters and see what masters. So here are all the masters that are already created. So this is what that looks like. So Tuesday cooking shift here. Oh, I'm going to have to go into master that actually exists on this site. So hold on one second while I find that. So it would be a kitchen shift, right? Yeah. Okay, so if I go into this kitchen shift and go to instances, this is my master at the top. If I wanted to, I could say that this kitchen shift happened on a daily basis or maybe certain days of the week. So I'll do weekly, the time frame that it happens, when it starts, the starting date, how many times, once per week or recurs every 1 week, the days of the week, and then ending by a certain amount of occurrences, and you can select up to 30, or end by a certain date, and you would select the date. And then you just activate the instances, and then all of your kitchen shifts are populated. The nice thing about that is if anything changes with the instances, like maybe there's a new description you want to add, you can always go into the master, edit that, and then it'll update to all the instances that were attached to that master. It works similar to Outlook calendar. So,
and then I was just typing with someone, so I might have been distracted if you said this, but similarly-ish, you can also delete, if you make a recurring event that's every Monday for the entire semester, except for like MLK Day, except for the Monday after Easter or whatever, you can go in and delete those specific occurrences instead of having to worry about like messing up your schedule. So you can make a schedule for every single day and then just delete the ones that actually are exceptions to the rule, which is really great also.
Yep. Now, in addition, you can also access your users' accounts. So if you want to see everybody that is signed up, you can search for them alphabetically in the system. You can also email your group all together. So if you wanted to email everybody in your site, you could send an email blast directly by just typing a subject body and sending the email. You can also grab the email addresses, copy and paste these into another email program like Outlook, and then use the features that program provides for you. And then the setup section, one of the most important things when you're set up with your own landing page is you're going to be dedicated a certain URL address, a short URL address for your account. This is the actual link you're going to promote for your specific landing page, and it's important to direct your volunteers to this link instead of the main link that will appear in their address bar, which will always be campuskitchens.volunteerhub.com. It's always going to default to the last landing page that the person was on their computer, so it's important to promote these short URLs. You each have a QR code, too, you can promote on marketing materials for your landing page. And
oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know you could click that little thing. Awesome.
Yeah, you can copy and paste those on marketing materials and promote that for your site.
So we have another question, but I'm just going to underscore what Christine just said because it's like the most important takeaway of how to use VolunteerHub as a campus kitchen. So no matter what landing, so you'll see here like the whole list of campus kitchens that have their own landing pages as of right this minute. You can type any of those into your browser go-to bar, and it doesn't matter what you type in, it's always going to transfer back to this campuskitchens.volunteerhub.com. So if you're to go to your page and then just like not really thinking, go copy and paste the URL you're at and show it to your volunteers, like tweet that or put that on Facebook, that is not going to be helpful to the people that are trying to volunteer with you. They're going to get sent to our generic Campus Kitchens page that lists every single opportunity for every single campus kitchen on VolunteerHub, which is very counterproductive to getting your volunteers signing up for your shifts. So I'll go over this again and again when I get you set up if you're interested in using the system, but that's super important. A related issue, which this is where our next question is ensuring that students only sign up for or volunteers only sign up for shifts with the campus kitchen that they actually need to volunteer with. So we don't have students from Gonzaga signing up for shifts with students that are at Boston. And there is a way to do that. Christine, would you mind just kind of going over that to show everyone that there is that system in place?
Yeah, so well, it's important to always promote the exact URL for your campus kitchen, but you'll see that when a landing page is created, you're actually going to, well, I don't know if you set up this one the way that I'm thinking. Let's see how, yeah. So when this landing page was created for UMass Boston, it was actually created so that it automatically joins users to a user group called UMass Boston. So anybody directed to the link for UMass Boston is automatically going to be grouped into that user group. And then in turn, you shouldn't have people that are actually going from site to site unless they have the link to the other campus kitchen. They shouldn't be able to access that page. Now, if you wanted to, you could say only display events with a reservation for this group on that page too. So what will happen is only events that are reserved will be able to be signed up by that group. So there's a way on VolunteerHub where you can limit who can sign up for certain events, and that's done under the registered users section. You can actually say for UMass Boston and then only reserve certain amount of slots for that group. So like if there were only 10 slots available for this event, you'd put 10 in there and you can reserve all the slots available for that event. So people from other groups wouldn't be able to sign up for this event. But in reality, because you're promoting that one link to the people that are supposed to go there, they shouldn't have access to the other sites. That will only happen if, for whatever reason, they go to your main page of the Campus Kitchens, which would have all of the events listed, which in that case, if the events were reserved for only their group, they wouldn't be able to sign up for. They actually going to the main page would only show them the events that they should be able to sign up for. So does that make sense? You know, it's kind of confusing without getting in there and kind of playing around with it and knowing how the reservation feature works. But essentially, if someone goes to a short URL to a UMass Boston, I'm automatically grouped in that user group called UMass Boston. So if I were to return, for whatever reason, I went to the main page of Campus Kitchens, because the main page doesn't automatically join me to any group, it would just be that I was part of that UMass Boston, so I should only even see those events. I shouldn't see any other events unless I found my way to another site. So does that make sense to you, Linda, as well?
Yeah, thank
you. You understand what I'm saying?
All right, and this is also getting into the weeds, and I will equip you guys with more materials if and when you get started on VolunteerHub to prevent this. But our kitchens that have already started using it have run into the issue where people are directed to just that main campuskitchens.volunteerhub.com page. And so then when people sign up through that page, they're not added in any user group. And that's where the problem has been. So I do go through and I add people to their correct user group. It's obvious if someone signs up with a Gonzaga email address that they belong to Gonzaga, and that's easy to do. It's harder if someone signs up with like a Yahoo email address and their phone number is from, someplace where we don't have a campus kitchen, and I don't put them in a user group because I don't want to mess things up for them. But that has sort of been where our issue lies. So that's just all is to underscore the importance of if and when you join us on the system and I give you a specific URL to your campus kitchen, always typing out that specific URL instead of copying and pasting the one in your browser bar.
All right. Anything else you'd like me to show them today, or do you want to take any other questions?
At this point, I'm going to unmute everyone so that if you don't have typing capabilities or you'd rather try to explain your question out loud, you have that ability. So everyone is unmuted. Is there something else that you would like to learn about the system before you commit to deciding whether or not to use it, or capabilities that it has, or issues that you have that you're wondering if VolunteerHub can help you address, etc.? Now is the time.
Yay, that means I did a good job.
Excellent. All right. So we're going to take that as there are no more questions. So I just have a few follow-up things. So if you are thinking that your campus kitchen would be benefited by using VolunteerHub, that's great. I'm going to mute everyone again just so you know. So the next steps. The next step is to email me. I'll put my email in the chat box in case you don't have it, though you all should have gotten an email from me about this. And letting me know that you're interested. Something to keep in mind when deciding whether or not to implement the system is we strongly, strongly recommend that you don't implement a new volunteer management system until there's some sort of break in your operations or school schedule. So maybe that means waiting until summer operations start if you do that, or waiting till the next quarter or the next semester starts, just to try to make it a little bit easier on your volunteers and give them a good solid starting spot for, okay, we're changing to a new system as of this specific date. It's the start of a new semester, start of a new system. Yay. It's exciting. So just so you know, we do make that recommendation and really encourage you all to think about that. That being said, you would need to get the system populated with your events before you're ready for people to use it, obviously. So as soon as you decide you're ready to use it, like I said, email me. If you can include your volunteer waiver in that initial email, that will help me get you started up a little faster because I won't need to email you back asking for it. If you have a volunteer waiver that you're able to put in the system, that's great. Again, this system is, thanks to a generous grant that the Campus Kitchens Project nationally received, is free for any campus kitchen to use, so you don't need to worry about any costs with that. And then additionally, like I said, we have other resources for you, and the primary resource is the VolunteerHub manual that I created that's specific to campus kitchens and goes through everything we talked about today and then some. So it shows you how to set up your page, how to set up recurring events, how to set up individual events, how to manage your users, how to run some reports. I need to add a little section on the kiosk now that I've seen what Christine went over today. And then other than that, I think it's pretty comprehensive. Some of our campus kitchens that are already on the system have it and have given me some feedback. And so we add things as we go to try to make it the most comprehensive go-to resource for how things work for our VolunteerHub system. So I think that's everything I needed to say about that. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat box to let me know if there's anything I can clarify for you, or you can feel free to email me. Any questions at this point? And you can talk them or type them. Awesome. All right. So the last two things I want to do a little shout out for while I have you on the call. You should have received an email from your program manager last week, April updates from the Campus Kitchens project, and in that email was a link to a student leadership survey. We're hoping to get as many of our student leaders to take the survey as possible to help us improve our program and show what our leadership outcomes are. So that link is in that newsletter, and we're encouraging anyone, whether they're an alumni or current student leader, and that includes LT members, work studies, Vistas, other kinds of student leaders, encourage you to take that survey, and then you'll have the opportunity to sign up to win a drawing for, or be entered into a drawing for a gift card after you take that survey. And then the final thing is that Emily, our coordinator at the Campus Kitchen at Gonzaga, has a community garden that she does nutrition education in, and also obviously harvests a ton of produce for her meals. And that garden is up for a $5,000 grant. And so I just entered the link for that grant into the chat box, and I just wanted to give her a little plug for you all to vote for it, and if you're interested, share it with your networks as a way of supporting another campus kitchen. All right, well, that is all we have. So like I said, email me if you have any questions, and hopefully I can get lots of you set up on the system in the near future. Thanks, everyone, for joining.